everybody. Welcome to the webinar on South Korea today, hosted by Asia Exchange. My name is Joonas Salo. I am the Sales and Relationships Manager here at Asia Exchange, and I will be your host today. And we will also be joined by Tia Kärnä, who is currently studying her full degree studies in Seoul, South Korea at Hankook University of Foreign Studies, and hopefully another panelist studying at Hanyang University in Ansan, South Korea, who will be joining us a little bit later during the session today. And well, before we get started, I think the agenda for today, so shortly who we are. If you have not heard about us before, we are Asia Exchange. We've been operating for the last 16 years. We are a Finnish study abroad organization, enabling students from all over the world to go to our various destinations around the world. And we started this whole thing back in 2007 due to our two co-founders who originally studied abroad in Shanghai University back in 2005. They got this idea because they went abroad as independent study abroad students, so free mover students, and they thought that this would be a great chance to streamline this whole process for students in Finland specifically. And in 2013, we accounted for all of for 1/4 of all student mobility that was from Finland to abroad, and nowadays this has evolved into, a global scale, and we've sent students from 10,000 students from 110 different countries abroad, and 700 universities have trusted us with our students. I do not have a separate slide for that, so now that we are over that, we will be focusing on South Korea today, together with our panelists, and of course, looking to answer any and all of your questions today. So if you do have questions, you can already feel free to type those in the Q&A or the chat box during the presentation today, and we'll look to get to those at the end of the session today, together with Dia and Victoria. And before we do that, we're going to shortly go over our Korean universities that we have on offer, as well as the program opportunities that you have in South Korea. And then, of course, Dia will be able to pitch in with some of her experiences as well. But before we get started, I thought that this would be a good chance to also gauge whether we have students who have already applied in the session today, or whether we have students who have not yet applied, so that we can also expect to see what type of questions you may have. All right, that was a quick one, as we're 14, so we still have 3 people who have not answered. Give you a couple seconds for that still. All right, so 13 of 14 have answered, and it seems like most of the students have not yet applied, and those deadlines for the upcoming spring semester are coming up, so I'm sure there will be some relevant questions regarding the upcoming semester and any future semesters as well. But awesome. I think given that, we can get started. So the programs we offer in South Korea specifically are the semesters abroad, as the first and most popular study abroad program through Asia Exchange. South Korea is our most popular study abroad destination at the moment, which means that if you are interested in the semester abroad through us, you will be guaranteed to be studying with other Asia Exchange students, other international students from all over the world. I think Asia Exchange alone sends around 100 to 150 students abroad to our South Korean partner universities on a semester basis. Then we've got the full degree programs. This is actually the full degree program because it is currently only offered in Hankook University of Foreign Studies. But as of next week, we will also be having a full degree program offered at Hanyang University, located just outside of the Seoul center. Last but not least, we have a 4-week summer school located in Seoul as well. So that is offered by Hankook University of Foreign Studies. And then we also offer a language school program, which we've modified to also include some cultural studies, as well as business courses related to South Korea and to Asia specifically. But let's delve a little bit deeper. Normally, I would ask Paul here regarding why you've chosen, or why you're interested, why the attendees here are interested in South Korea. But I would say that this is, of course, a destination where some of our most motivated students go, or academically motivated students go. And I think in that sense, it is the perfect kind of destination if you're interested in an interesting culture and a high level of act. So I would say those are the two main reasons that students go here. And I would compare this to Japan very often, because students interested in South Korea only want to go to South Korea. They often know a lot about the culture and the language before going there as well. Yeah, maybe we could, even though we don't have our second panelist here, but nonetheless, if you're able to open your mic and your camera and say hello, and maybe tell us why you decided to go to South Korea.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Tia, and I'm currently doing my second year at Hankook University of Foreign Studies. And I ended up coming to Korea because I was here before and I fell in love with the country, the culture, and I really wanted to get better at the language and just explore just Seoul in general and the other cities as well a little bit longer than just a few months. So that's why I ended up doing the full degree here.
Right. And thank you so much for joining at that late hour. I know it's past midnight there, so much appreciated on our end as well.
Okay.
All right, but we can move on. So thank you, Thea, for the answers. And before we move on, I'd like to ask the attendees here as well what they are most interested in hearing about today, just so we know also what to prioritize regarding what we discuss with Thea and hopefully Victoria later on today as well. And I'll give you guys 30-ish seconds and again, and then we can I'll share the results and we can move on. Perfect. So most of you have answered, and it seems like academic life in South Korea is number 1, pre-arrival preparations number 2, and then everyday life outside of campus is currently ranked 3rd. So sharing the results with you guys there. Thank you for answering. Okay, we'll go to our Korean universities next. And number 1, Hankook University of Foreign Studies, HOOFs for short, as we call them in Asia Exchange, and how they often name themselves. Located in the center of Seoul. They actually have 2 campuses, the global campus located, I would say, 1 to 1.5 hours outside of central Seoul. But I would say that 99% of students who go there for a semester abroad through Asia Exchange go to the Seoul campus located in the center of Seoul. And it's currently ranked as the most international university in South Korea, probably also because they do have the fully English taught bachelor's degree program that Thea is currently studying in as well. And well, as for the semester dates, I would say that any and all Korean universities are very, very similar when it comes to semester dates. So often Korean universities will run a program from March to June for the spring semester and from September to December for the autumn semester. And that will go for most of our universities and programs in South Korea as well. This university, I would say, is most popular among students studying global affairs, international studies, business and economics, and is also renowned if you're interested in the Korean language. Their Korean language department is especially popular, and most students who do go abroad here often choose to do, for example, the beginner Korean language course through the Korean Language Center that HOOFS has, or even the intensive Korean language course. But as a disclaimer there, if that's something you're interested in, that course is hosted, I think, 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. So that will leave you a little room for other academic courses during the semester. One other thing to mention is, of course, the levels of study. So if you are interested in, or if you're a bachelor or master level student, both options are available to you. But of course, as a bachelor level student, you will not be able to take master level courses. And as a master level student for a semester abroad, you will not be able to take bachelor level courses. Then, well, I could say a few things about the international summer school as well. So this can be done completely separately if you want a shorter stay in South Korea, or if you want to combine a summer school with, for example, a spring or autumn semester and arrive early or stay a little longer and earn academic credits during the summer months. This is a max of 10 ECTS credits that you can earn during the summer program in Seoul. And it is especially focused on Korean language, Korean culture, and Korean business. And they offer a language course during the program, and you'll also have excursions to cultural site visits. So, for example, the DMZ, so the demilitarized zone in between North and South Korea, that's something that you will be able to visit during this program. And last but not least, we have the full undergraduate degree for those of you here interested in a full degree in South Korea. The application procedure here is a little bit different. So there are always 2 rounds to register and apply for the program. And it is a full undergraduate degree focused on international studies with different types of sort of specializations involved in the program. And I would say that this is, of course, an easy choice in the sense that there are generally no GPA requirements. And if you have done an English language test, an official one, for example, a TOEFL or IELTS test, and you submit that together with your application, you are eligible for a Hankook University of Foreign Studies scholarship if your grade for those English language tests is on the high end of the scale. We can also discuss more about the full degree studies in case you do have questions about that in the chat later on. And Thea can also, of course, shed some light on the full degree more in depth as well. Next up, we have Hanyang University. It does say Seoul, South Korea here, but this is the Hanyang University Erika campus located in Ansan, which is still in the Seoul National Capital area, but not precisely in the center of Seoul. I think currently it's around 45 minutes by public transport to the Ansan campus of Hanyang University. And well, this is one of our highest ranked universities in our portfolio, currently ranking worldwide in the worldwide QS rankings at 156 this year. And this is definitely a university that's more popular among students studying the more technical fields. So if you're an engineering student, if you're a computer science student, this is definitely a good choice for you. Before Hanyang University was a university per se, it was the oldest engineering institute in South Korea. So in that sense, they do have a long history with the more technical fields in general. But of course, if you are studying some of the more general fields like business and economics, then definitely this is also a suitable choice for you as well. And as mentioned before, you can see here that the semester dates are exactly the same as for Hankook University of Foreign Studies, with the application deadlines, of course, being a little bit later on. Last but not least, we moved down south to Busan, South Korea, where we're partnered with Donga University. They currently are a smaller university offering only business and management studies and only on the bachelor level. So that's, of course, good to take into account. But given that most students, especially from European countries, go abroad during their second or third year of bachelor studies, this would, of course, be a good choice for students interested in the business studies. And experiencing something other than Seoul, South Korea. So I would say that, of course, Seoul is our most popular destination, and more than likely, studying in Seoul, you would still be making, for example, a weekend trip to Busan by train. But if you're interested in a seaside city with good and different vibes, so to say, I think a more relaxed atmosphere than busy Seoul, then definitely this would be the choice for you. And of course, you would be able to visit Seoul during the semester as well. Last but not least, we do. I want to shortly present our language program. So we are partnered with Global E&S in the center of Seoul, and they host language courses that you can take at different levels from March to May or September to November. And additionally, you're able to also take university level courses in different study fields. So if you're interested in economics, if you're interested in Korean culture, in marketing, in the politics in and around the South Korean region, then definitely this would be the choice for you. And this is, of course, if there are any gap year students, so high school graduates with us today, then you're not yet enrolled in a university, then this would be the choice for you, because South Korean universities currently do not accept students who are not enrolled in a higher education institution at the moment. But I think that was it shortly. And of course, I'm happy to answer anything you want to know about the university specifically. I think this session is usually most popular and best conducted when there are questions from the audience, and that's usually why people join. So I thought that we could jump into these. And as per the poll, the most people were interested in academic life in South Korea, and we also have Victoria here together with us now as well. So maybe we could start with that. And Victoria, since you're here with us now as well, thanks for joining at this late hour on your end. Do you have, or what would you like to say about the academic level studying at a university in South Korea compared to, for example, your home country?
Before I start saying anything, I just want to mention that I'm very sick. So if I cough, then you know why.
Okay, I got it.
The academic level here is definitely very different than in the Netherlands. I study in the Netherlands, where I have a lot of like practical lessons. Here it's only like theory. Everything is done individually. I only have one team project for one class. And when it comes to exams, like at Hanyang University at least, some teachers allow you to, let's say, cheat on exams. And they also can, they make up your grade, if that makes any sense. It was very hard for me to understand what it exactly is, but basically a teacher can decide if he wants to fail you or if he wants to pass you. So even though you do an exam and if you didn't do very well, a teacher can still decide to pass you. For the rest, I think it's actually very, it's very nice. And it's not as difficult as I thought, because going into Korea, I thought that studying here is going to be crazy, but it's not that bad as people make it.
Right. But what I like to say is if you come from a decent European university or University of Applied Sciences, you're probably going to do pretty well at any of the Asia Exchange universities as well, and you'll be fine. And I'm sure that in terms of the grades, such as, well, for example, my experience studying in Finland, there are also other factors than just the exam that affect the grades. So in that sense, probably that's also what makes up the pass or the fail from the course as well.
Yeah, so for us, for us also what makes your grade is your attendance and your participation. So for every single time you ask a question or every single time you answer a question, you get points. And the more you talk during a class, you get more points.
Right. What about Thea? You're in your second year now. Anything you'd like to add about academic life in South Korea?
Yeah, I was actually also a little bit worried about how difficult it's going to be to study in Korea because you hear a lot about like how difficult the student life here would be. But honestly, if you just attend the classes and follow through the lectures, you're very well off with that. Because generally, what I think about the universities in South Korea, the teaching is actually very high quality. And for example, in our school, like the teachers are very happy to help you outside of the school as well. So like outside of the class. So if you have any questions, just send them an email and they will answer you. Uh, One thing that is a little bit different for like compared to some countries, for example, for Finland, like we usually didn't have mandatory class participation, but in Korea you have to attend the classes. I think it's 4 classes. If you miss 4 classes, you automatically fail. So be in your classes if you if you can, honestly. Just don't miss them. That's very important here.
Yeah, good tips. Good tips. We also have 4 questions so far in the chat, so I'll quickly read over those. Wujin says, I study medicine in Germany. It's not a bachelor's degree. Is it also possible for me to participate in this program? If this is a university equivalent to a university level program, then you are able to study abroad at any of our partner universities in South Korea, definitely. But studying medicine in Germany, I'm not sure. In Finland, for example, medicine can only be studied at a university level institution. So you would be eligible, for example, as a Finnish student, but I'm not sure completely what the system in Germany is. But I would venture a good guess that you would be eligible for this program as well. Yin asks, I've already graduated with a bachelor's degree and I'm currently working. Am I eligible to join any semester exchange program? Not in South Korea. You would be eligible for the language program, but we do have other options for gap year students in and around the Asian region as well as in Latin America. So you might want to look at those. Then Yin also asked, well, this is a good question also for other participants here today. So what is the minimum living cost per month? Accommodation, transport, food. My answer always to this is depends on what the student wants to experience and how much they want to, what they want to spend their money on. But any insight here, for example, from Victoria on do you have a monthly budget that you planned on, or what would you say is the average you spend per month?
Usually per month, I spend less than, I don't want to exaggerate, but let's say 1,200 euros. Okay. In total for everything. So I don't live on campus. So if you live on campus, it's going to be cheaper. Yeah. Because I think on campus you pay 600 to 800 euros for the whole semester. I pay 350 euros per month for my like apartment room or whatever this is. And I also live in Seoul while the campus is in Ansan. So I also pay for transportation, but the transportation here is very cheap. I don't think I spend more than 70 euros per month for transportation when it comes to school. And the food here is quite cheap as well. If you eat Korean, if you want to eat like Western, then it's going to be more expensive. But I would say the living costs here are definitely cheaper than in Europe.
What about Dia? Are you currently living on campus?
I'm not currently living on campus. I'm living nearby in like kind of co-living place. So technically I have a roommate, but because they left, so currently I'm living alone in this room for a while. So my rent is roughly 400 euros. And for transportation, it really depends how much you want to travel around, but I'd say that I spend roughly around like 45 euros per month for transportation. And also food also depends on what you want to eat. If you want to eat on campus, our meals are between 3,500 won, so around like roughly to 2.5 euros. So you can eat pretty cheap, and if you want to have something fancier, then you can go pretty crazy with the money when it comes to food as well. So it 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 really depends. I would say that if you don't want to spend too much money, I would say prepare to pay around like 500 to 700 euros per month.
Right. Yeah. That's probably an average I would have also came up with as well. And I also like that Victoria mentioned the on-campus dormitories, because I think those are still the most popular option among our students, mostly because they're convenient and they're pretty affordable. So you mentioned the 600 to 800 euro budget for the whole 4-month semester. I think it's currently a little bit higher. So depending on if a student wants to stay in a mixed dormitory where your roommate will still be same gender, or whether you want to stay in a female only dormitory, obviously only available for female students, then that would be 900 euro, I think, for the whole semester for mixed, and then around 1,000 to 1,100 for the female dorm. So still quite affordable if we think of monthly rent in most European cities. If you were to divide that into 4 months, the full price for the semester, of course. Okay. We have what kind of scholarships, if there are any, can you recommend? Well, depending on your nationality, that totally depends. So if you're from Sweden, if you're from Finland, if you're from Norway or Denmark, there are scholarships that you can get if your studies abroad are basically counted into your degree. So if your learning agreement is accepted when you apply for studying abroad, same goes for if you're a German student, so you can get the BAföG. That, of course, depends a little bit on your parents' income, so on and so forth. And then if you're thinking of the full undergraduate degree, there are certain HOOF scholarships that you can get, for example, for the English language test and the results that you get from that. And Ian is also asking if your university studies were fully conducted in English. Do I qualify for any English language scholarships? You might also want to check there are scholarships page, because we also have, or a funding page, I think it's called, because we have listed different scholarships for different countries as well on asiaexchange.org. So you go to Good to Know, and then you go to funding, and you can find our scholarships there. Hey, then I think the other topic that was interesting, or that the attendees were interested in discussing today, were pre-arrival preparations. And Victoria, since you have most recently applied and arrived into the country, maybe we could discuss a little bit about how you prepared before arrival, and maybe what you didn't prepare but you wish you had prepared for. So any tips and tricks there that you can share?
Everything was actually quite simple. Going into this, I thought everything will be more stressful and will cost more time. But at the end of the day, at least like speaking from the point of a Dutch citizen, getting a visa was very easy. I had it within like 5 days, I think it was accepted. I booked the flight, I booked my my room, which was also very easy. The only thing that I would say don't do is what I did, which is don't book your flight too early, because things can happen. I booked my flight a month before the semester started, and I had to rebook it because I didn't get all my documents on time. In my head, I was like, oh, like it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna travel before the semester starts. It didn't work out. So yeah, but in general, everything went very easy, very smoothly. So there weren't very like big problems, I would say. The only thing that was stressful is that like one certain document wasn't like on time. It was on time, but it wasn't on time. So that was the only problem. And then when arriving in Korea, it's such a convenient country that after landing, you just know where to be, how to get there. And I would say it was quite easy actually.
Got it. Okay. What about Thea? Anything you want to add? I think I think the process may be a little bit more stressful for a full degree student to arrive into the country.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of papers that needed to be prepared and get from previous studies. So I would just say that if you're applying for a full degree, just start preparing all the necessary documents in time so you don't have to rush when the application actually starts, because it's a little bit more complex than just the exchange study application as well. So yeah, I would just start preparing in time. And what I would recommend doing before landing to Korea is to have certain apps on your phone, for example, because like Google Maps doesn't work. So you probably want to have Neighbor Maps or Kakao Maps or some Korean counterparts for Google Maps, because that will make your life a lot of easier.
Definitely. I think those were good tips as well. And maybe my one follow-up question here is regarding accommodation. Would you guys recommend for those not looking to stay in the dorms, did you guys look for short-term accommodation first, or did you immediately book something for the long term before arrival?
For me, I was looking at Airbnb first. They aren't like super expensive, but they are more expensive. And then actually previous semester, my friend from the Netherlands, she was doing her exchange in South Korea, and she was staying in this it's called like shared housing. It's like a dormitory, but it's private. So she recommended me this place, and it's for long stay. So I think it's for, if you're staying in fall, then it's for people who are staying minimum 4 months, and if it's for summer, it's minimum 1 month.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to share the name of the place, just in case other students?
Yeah, the place is called H Stay. And it's very nice. I really enjoyed here. I really like it here. They have 4 different room types. I have like the not the cheapest one, but the one above. And the landlord is also very nice. He speaks very good English. A very nice man, very like understanding. And if you have to pay, let's say, rent a bit later, then he's gonna be like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. Then it's very good. Also a very nice location, close to pretty much every place in Seoul. So yeah, I do recommend it. It's very, very cool here.
Great. What about Thea? Any tips there, or anything to add?
Oh yeah, if you don't want to live in a dormitory, I would also recommend share houses as well, because they're usually a little bit cheaper or than like these goshi ones, which are these like very small rooms that you can just have for yourself. They're usually a bit cheaper, but if you don't need much space, then that's a good option. And if you want to meet up with new people, share house is really fun, but I would also recommend maybe booking it for a little bit shorter term first, so you can actually see how the places are, because it can be a little bit tricky to find proper place when you're abroad and not able to visit the places. I did end up, for my first year, I ended up having a share house that I booked already for like 1 year. And there was some issues with like mold and things like that, but it was still okay-ish. But if I had to redo that, I would probably just book like Airbnb for the first month and do the house research here for a full degree, especially when you're actually staying here for a longer time. And currently, like I said, I'm staying in this co-living shared house system called Mangrove. And this place is really neat, and they have multiple places around Seoul. So this is a place that I would actually recommend. The pricing is maybe a little bit higher, but the accommodation, the rooms are very clean. There's a lot of like facilities like gym that's also included. So yeah, for a little bit bigger price, you might get a lot better options as well.
Okay, thanks for the tips. Yeah, and maybe to add for the pre-arrival, so we've covered accommodation and some of the visa stuff. Generally, the visa takes 2 to 3 weeks for most European nationalities to be issued. And then regarding something else that hasn't been mentioned yet, I'd like to mention that if you are looking to stay in the dormitories, a tuberculosis test needs to be done before you're able to register into the dormitories. And this can be done back in your home country or in after arrival into Korea. But of course, if you're, for example, arriving without a private accommodation booked and you're directly wanting to enter the dorms, then you would need to take your luggage and everything into a medical center and get the test done there. But that should be pretty hassle-free nonetheless, because that test can be basically done through a walk-in, and it's a very quick and quite cheap option as well. So just want to mention that as well for those thinking of staying in dormitories and thinking of what they should prepare for before arrival. Yin is also asking about the accommodation for the language course. That is for the whole program duration. And then you're also asking if there's any alumni that could share their experiences. We can definitely connect you with the alumni, and I can also get back to you after the webinar regarding the scholarship recommendations as well. What about life outside of campus? What are your recommendations? Maybe Victoria first, since you're there only for a semester, so sort of that sense of urgency might be there for many students compared to Thea, who has more time to explore South Korea, and I'm sure maybe even some of the surrounding countries as well.
For now, I have been to Busan for 3 days. That was before my semester started, and I do really recommend going to Busan. I really liked it. It's very different from Seoul, actually. Like, the people are different, the vibe is different. And I spent a lot of time in Seoul, in Myeongdong, which is only like 50 minutes away from where I live. A lot of people are also going to Japan because it's also very close and very cheap. And yeah, there is a lot of things that you can do in Seoul. And if you want to travel around Asia, then it's also like quite cheap to go to China, Japan, Vietnam. So it also like depends on what your budget is, and what you want to see. But there's a lot to do, and to be honest, you also have quite a lot of time to see those things. So yeah, a few recommendations is definitely Namsan Tower, the Gyeongbokgung Palace, Dongdaemun building, whatever it is. The markets are great. So yeah, definitely a lot to see, a lot to do.
Got it. Thank you for the tips. So Victoria, what about Thea? Any additions?
Oh yeah, I know a lot of exchange students as well, and they often go to Jeju, the island south of the peninsula. And I was also there recently myself, and I would definitely recommend flying to Jeju for a weekend trip, or even a little bit longer if it's possible. It's a very nice island with a lot of nature to see and a lot of outdoorsy activities, a lot of good tea as well. So that's definitely one place that I would really recommend if you like going outdoors.
Is it easy to get around in Jeju before we continue? Or do you need a car?
I would say that with a car, it's a lot of easier. And if you don't have a car, then maybe prepare to do a trip either one of the sides of the island because the buses don't go that often around as in they do in Seoul. So that's my recommendation. If you don't have a car, pick like a spot. Do you want to stay in the south or north or west or east, and plan your trip that way. That's going to save a lot of time and probably some anxiety as well or stress. So, but
Right.
still, it would be very manageable that way as well.
Got it. Yeah, I think you were about to recommend something else as well, so go for it.
Yeah. Another city outside of Seoul, and not including Busan because it was already mentioned, is Gyeongju, which is very good city if you're interested in like Korean culture and history. It's very like historical city full of like UNESCO World Heritage sites. So that's one of my recommendations if you're interested to delve deeper into the culture and history.
And I'm guessing the coffee culture, I'm not sure if you guys are coffee drinkers, but we often hear from our exchange students that they spend a lot of time in the cafes and around Seoul as well.
Yeah, that's definitely true. A lot of good cafes, a lot of themed cafes. I would definitely recommend the coffee culture if you're interested in cafes. There's too many to see.
Got it. Yeah. Yin is asking, did you say Gyeongju in chat?
Yeah.
I'm sure you can.
Yes.
Yeah. Got it. All right. Hey, we would have 4 more minutes, so if there's any questions, now's the time to ask, since we do have the 2 student panelists with us here today. So I can give us 1 more minute in case there's any final questions from the audience, and then I think we could wrap it up if there are none. So let's just wait 1 more or a couple more seconds. Perfect. I guess there are no more questions incoming. So on that note, I think we could wrap this session up, and I'll leave it up to Dia and Victoria if you want to share your socials so that students can directly contact you. That's up to you guys in the chat. And I understand if you do and if you don't. So I'll leave that up to you. And a big thank you firstly to the panelists today for joining us today. I know it's late for you guys, so highly appreciated. Good luck in the upcoming exams as well. And thank you for all the interested attendees here today. And if you do have any questions, then you can always contact us. Our coordinators can be directly contacted at info@asiaexchange.org. And then you can, of course, check out our social media, send us a DM there, or also find some of the current students who are abroad sharing their experiences there as well. But a big thank you on my behalf as well. And have a good night in South Korea and a good evening in and around, or a good day in and around anywhere you guys are located. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, and thank you from me as well. Have a great day.
Thanks to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.